So that's how the Chilli Shop came about.
Wow.
Not planned, but it was a path of keeping your word, a path of being inspired, meeting inspiring people and being touched by them and carrying on that journey and being open to opportunities. And it's amazing how these opportunities, you can't live life without it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to find the best taste in the world.
Wow.
And I found it.
Yeah.
I actually found it. Do you know how I found it?
How did you find it, Frank?
I gave my bed away.
Explain that.
This caramelized garlic taste on my tongue. And it was like, and after I'd eaten, I kept going,
I need more.
And then I put it in baked beans. Then I put it in soup. And everyone started liking my cooking.
Yeah, funny. Hello, guys, and welcome to another episode of LiT Inspiration Takeover Podcast, otherwise known as the LiT Podcast. Today, I'm here with a very special guest, owner of the Chilli Shop in Leeds, an amazing individual. His name is Frank. I've been really looking forward to this particular interview because I'd initially spoken to Frank before when I was doing a mini project, which was an audio log that I was trying out. He was very friendly. He allowed me to interview him. From then on, I just knew that me and Frank had to do a podcast session. So I came to him, asked him if, he was all right for us to record a podcast just for us to discuss his story, his journey. He told me a little bit about it. And from the 5 to 10 minutes that he told me, I was so excited because I was like, man, this story just sounds amazing. Frank's vibrant, as you will come to see in this podcast as we go along. Without further ado, Frank, welcome to the LiT Inspiration Takeover Podcast. How are you doing today, Frank?
I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, mate. The Chilli Shop, it pretty much speaks for itself. Look at how vibrant and beautiful it is. Where did the concept stem from?
Well, it all started in a skate park in Brighton.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I moved to Brighton.
Yeah.
And I met up with a really inspiring friend, Paul. And he said, I've always wanted to work with you, Frank. Always. Okay. And he said, what should we do? Yeah. And I was walking along the seafront in Brighton between the two piers, and there was an old paddling pool.
Okay.
Very broken and old Victorian one.
Yeah.
And kids were skateboarding over it and getting told off by the local cafe.
Wow.
And I went, kids, come over here. What are you doing? And they went, Mum and Dad won't let me skate anywhere else, and there's nowhere to skate. And I went, right, what if I turn this into a skate park?
Yeah. And
they went, cool. And we drew it on a napkin. Like, as soon as you get an idea, I wrote it down. Very very
Absolutely.
Draw it so it's real.
That's me.
brought the idea back to my friend Paul, and he went, right, let's do it. Within 5 to 6 weeks, we built a £50,000 skate park with no money.
No way. I have to stop you there. So no money. Explain no money. Because building materials cost money. Everything costs money. So
well,
I'd love to hear that story.
If you want to know about inspiration, it's like, I've learned, and I learned from my friend Paul, is you only learn something when somebody says no.
Absolutely.
Don't take it as a negativity.
It's not personal.
They're saying no for a reason, and you need to know that reason.
Absolutely.
And then you can go back again. So we approached the council and said, hello, we would like to build a skate park.
There you go.
In between the two piers on that old paddling pool. And they said no.
Oh, wow.
And then we said, why no?
Yeah.
And they said, well, it's because we don't own it.
Oh, right.
And they went, right, who owns it? Yeah. And they said, when the pier burned down, we sold it to the West Pier Trust for £1, and they own 100 metres of seafront because it's prime retail leisure land. And one day they'll rebuild the pier and have amusement arcades and cafes and restaurants and whatever.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all their plans didn't work, and it's got run down, and the lottery took their money back. And so we're just caretakers, and we have to keep the site in exactly the same state as it is. We're not allowed to change it, repair it, nothing. We just clean it, keep it safe.
Okay.
And I said, okay, me and Paul are going to go for a meeting. We came back and we said, right, I'd like to ask the same question again. Could we turn this into a temporary skate park?
Yep.
And we promised to leave it in the exact same mess as we found it.
Do you know the word you added there? Temporary.
And the council looked at each other and they went, we can't say no, but here are the guidelines. It needs to be ROSPA approved, the most expensive.
That's a yes to me.
And you've got to have toilets open, and you've got to have security and lighting and all that. And we went, and we had no money. And so And so we spoke to the Hilton that was overlooking it, the poshest hotel.
Yeah.
And they said, could you sponsor us? And they went, no.
Ooh, okay.
Why not? Because you're not a charity. We've got lots of money, but only for charities. And I went, okay, what could you give us for free? And they said, well, hotel rooms, food, drink. And I said, what about VIP rooms? And they said, okay. Yeah. So I approached a professional skateboard ramp company and said, when you build these ramps, how much do they cost? And they said, about £45,000. And I went, right. And I said, where do you stay? And they said, we have to sleep in a van or in a horrible B&B and it's awful.
Okay.
So I said, what if we put you up in a 5-star hotel suite with free food and drink for a week?
And it's VIP, by the way.
Suddenly it's £10,000.
Oh, from 45,000.
And then
see how God works.
Then we approached a sponsor. From my advertising days, my marketing days, we approached a sponsor.
Brilliant.
Would you like to sponsor our skate park?
Yeah.
No. Hang on. I'll ask the question again. We have a 368 square meter advertising hoarding on Brighton Seaside Beach, where 18 million people walk past in the summer.
Yeah.
You can have that site for £285 a day.
Wow.
And they said, skate parks are not part of our brand. We've spent all our advertising money. And the answer is yes, you'll have £25,000 in your bank by Monday.
What?
And to the council's amazement, we built this skate park. Now, how the Chilli Shop started from a skate park.
There you go. Yeah,
was they were the early skills of learning how to say. And then I started this skate park with Paul. The council banned us from selling healthy food to the kids. Skaters are a great community. Look after each other, protect each other. They teach each other. Great community.
Yeah.
And yet they're fit. It's a fit thing.
There you go. Very. Most of them, the ones that I've seen, always in shape.
Chris Eubank's kid used to come and skate on there. Great. And
brilliant,
Anyway, the council banned us from selling food, to the healthy food to the kids. So they would skate across 6 lanes of traffic to get chips and Coke. And I thought, okay, this is a message,
Yeah.
Look into healthy food. While I'm running the skate park, look into healthy food. And we found out there were 2,500 farms and local producers around Sussex and not a single farmer's market. Not one. The whole of Brighton.
That's mad.
So, being a vegetarian,
brilliant.
We started Europe's first vegetarian farmers market.
No way.
In Hove, near Brighton.
Yeah.
And it became Farmers Market of the Year 3 years later.
Wow.
And my first stallholder at the Farmers Market was a seriously hot chili stall that blew my head off. Like chutneys and jams and sauces. Wow.
Yeah.
And I challenged him. I said, are you local? Because they're chilies. Surely they come from around the world. And he goes, no, Frank, there's loads of us growing them in polytunnels and greenhouses.
Wow.
And we make really hot things. And we have nowhere to sell them.
Really?
Delis
there's another opportunity. One person's problem.
And he said, Frank, you're amazing. You've come along.
Wow.
You've started a skate park and a farmer's market without any agreement.
Oh, wow.
With record time, within weeks. Could you do a chili festival?
Yeah.
And I went, what's that? And he said, I don't know. They're on in America. I don't know.
What? So somebody actually came to you with the idea?
Yeah, well, he just suggested it. A stallholder said, could you start for us, our community of chili people, chili producers, a festival? So we started a chili festival.
No way.
10,000 people came in one weekend.
That is a lot of people. And not only is that a lot of people, that is a lot of opportunity for business.
Well, it's an amazing opportunity of connections.
Absolutely. Networking. Yeah, absolutely.
And you realise then that chili wasn't a product. It was an experience. Everyone was happy as anything. They were going around.
Say that again, please. Chili isn't a product.
Chili is not a product. It's
an experience. Man, I'm going to steal that one. I'm sorry.
You can have that.
Yeah, go on. Good.
So you can see I'm now at this chili festival going, oh my God, there's a lot of people.
Brilliant.
And it's everything's got rude or funny names or daring names and products I'd never heard of. Really creative ideas. Chili beers and chili cocktails and amazing things. Went to book it the next year and the year after the festival because it got bigger. And a lot of the stallholders kept going bust. And I'm thinking, wow, we need to protect the stallholders. We need to keep them going. Give them somewhere to sell all year round. The Chilli Shop.
Hence, the Chilli Shop was born.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that is where it
brilliant.
came from.
Yeah.
It was like, how can you encompass amazing, creative, inspirational people in one place
Yeah.
to keep them alive? But then it makes an exciting experience as a business, doesn't it? As a shop.
Absolutely. It really does. And there's something that you've said there. I think service goes a long way. If you go into anything with the heart to serve first, everything else comes after. Because there are a couple of things that you've told me which are already motivating me and inspiring me right now, because I think I was speaking to you earlier about starting my podcast and how I've just for the last 6 to 7 months have been putting everything together, and even now I feel like it's not all there. But then I have a saying, it's like there's always another way, there's always a way for you to get what you need to get. And everything that you're saying now, it's like you're speaking to my subconscious mind, you're reinforcing that. I'm like, Frank, man, you're telling me I have no excuses to get this done with how you did the skate park and the Chilli Shop and everything else. It's absolutely amazing, man.
Yeah, you're on a path, and where we are now is part way on our journey, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And it's not going to be where we are in the future.
No,
years
not
time.
at all.
But this is where we are now, and we'll learn from each other and the experiences we have. And I learn every day from customers.
Oh, of course.
I can only imagine. I've got a team. By the way, I've never advertised for a job. I've never put an advert.
People come to ask you.
No.
Oh,
no.
Right.
I spot a customer who is so passionate about the shop and loves the products.
Like a job, mate.
and I say, would you like to work part-time here? And
Really?
they feel honoured, you know?
Absolutely. I must say this, Frank. I think you'd be an amazing boss. Do you get my point? Just from the energy that I've experienced with you, you are passionate about what you do not even seem. I would say you're definitely passionate, and hence why I'm not even going to lie, I really wanted to have this conversation with you and just have that passion radiate. And already it's radiating, and so many gems that our viewers and our listeners are going to be picking up on. I'm so thankful. But perhaps if you could tell us a little bit about the early days of actually setting up. So I understand the concept where, you wanted to serve that community that you felt needed to be protected. What were the early days of the startup, the initial, getting the funds? I know you explained a little bit about the skate park, but for the Chilli Shop itself,
we had no
take us back a little bit.
No money.
About that experience. How was that?
Money.
Yeah, there you go. As always.
No money. Okay. You come back into Frank's world now. Okay. So my friend Paul had an old tiny shop. He had a few properties.
Okay.
He would rent them out. And there was this tiny shop in Brighton's Lane, and you could touch both walls of the lane with 2 hands. It's tiny. It's called Ship Street Gardens, tiny little lane. Opposite me was a ladies' erotica shop. Okay, lovely view out the window. All these beautiful corsets. It was a lovely. I would borrow their Henry the Hoover, but always look both ways before I came out. It was one of those. You try and explain that one.
For employees.
So me and Paul were doing this skate park, and then running the festival from this office. And we did the very first Chili Festival in Brighton Marina.
Okay.
And Brighton Marina approached me, called me into a meeting. I think it was P.Y. Jabot, the guy who took over the Millennium Dome.
Okay.
Okay, so he was a big events organizer. I think he owned this huge sites around the country, and one of them was Brighton Marina, which is like a complex, like a retail complex and leisure place. And I got called into a meeting, and they said, Frank, did you know your Chili Festival you had here was our busiest weekend we've ever had?
No way.
And I said, no idea. They said, we shut the roads at 1 o'clock. We had to shut the roads into a major town, because there was that many people. We've never been that busy. And I went, well, why am I here? They said, well, we know you want to do a Chili Festival again. Could you do anything else? Could you do 4 festivals a year? And I went, and I when people ask you need to know why they're asking.
Absolutely.
And I said, why are you asking? They said, well, about half of the shops have shut down.
Okay.
It's struggling. Retail was really a problem here. Footfall was a real problem. And I said, okay, all right, I'll obviously bring in a Chili Festival. I'll bring in a Christmas festival. That was easy. I will bring in an aphrodisiac festival.
Damn.
We called it Orgasmic. Oof. Every single store had to be an
I'd like to
aphrodisiac.
unpack that one. But so do you know when you were making these promises, were you sure did you have the resources?
No.
Do you even know what you were doing, Frank?
Nope.
I thought as much. That's why I asked.
Well, do you know, on the skate park, do you know what we did after the day the council said, okay, you can have the skate park as long as, but do you know what we did? The first thing we did.
What did you do?
We phoned up the newspaper.
Okay.
And we told them the date is going to be opening.
Wow.
That's called throwing your hat over the wall.
There you go.
What it is, it's your word. If you speak to people like one day, someday, would you like to be involved?
Yeah.
They're like, oh, it's one of those people that just talks about things.
Just asking me. But if you tell them it's happening. But if you say
on the 23rd of July on Brighton Beach, is the opening day of the skate park.
Yeah.
And boy, that's putting something on yourself.
Absolutely.
But from that point, you speak it into existence.
Absolutely.
You talk about it like it exists in a place, time, and, you know, and a venue, and it's real to people. Yeah. And then everyone came on board and started, it just all happened. I mean, it's risky. You're out your comfort zone. But you know what?
Which is the best thing to do because it all comes together nicely in the end.
Yeah.
And this is definitely, man.
And these are the muscles I've learned. You know, these are the muscles I've learned. So
absolutely.
I'll do something.
Do you know what, Frank? I'm going to say God is amazing, right? Mainly, I was doing this podcast thinking we're just going to have a conversation. Frank's going to tell me some mad stories I'm just interested to learn. But you're preaching to me right now. A lot of what you're saying is resonating with me directly. Obviously, you're using direct references and personal examples, you know, of yourself by speaking to me and everything that I'm embarking on my journey. The thing that you said about setting deadlines, I do have a tendency of prolonging things sometimes because I'm a bit of a perfectionist. Yeah. I'll feel like, I don't have this. I don't have enough cameras. I don't have enough microphones. So let me just push it back. And the young man I interviewed last week, Nail, literally pushed me. He was like, mate, listen, let's do it. He came down all the way from Leicester for us to come and do that. But I'll be honest and say again, I think I said it in my previous podcast. If it wasn't for him, I would have been waiting for my third camera and it would have been 3-4 months down the line. But as I've gotten started, things are falling into place. The thing that you've said, because it's happening, I'm just going with it with the mentality that it's happening wherever I'm going to go. You saw how I packed up in my little car with the whole setup in that small car, right?
Yep.
If you looked at it, you wouldn't have thought all of this would fit in that tiny car, but it fit.
Because you said it was going to fit.
It's going to happen. So now I've done exactly what you've said. I'm setting dates. Even the podcast, I'm jumping straight in now. It'll be episode after episode every week. I am going to go to where the opportunity calls. I am going to get my other 2 cameras, everything, and it will be top notch. I don't have it yet. I don't have an idea where the money is going to come from, but it's going to happen because it's already started. Why not? So
you live into a future. You're saying. Yeah.
I hear you. Yeah.
If I step one place back from going to Brighton, I'd lost everything in a marriage. Okay, I'd lost everything.
Wow. Sorry.
And you either look at it in a bad way or it's a nice clean start. Okay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And one of the things I did when I came back to London was I was going past St. Paul's Cathedral.
Right.
And I heard, it felt like angels singing. And it was actually a choir practicing for the Sunday service. Okay. So this is on Saturday. Okay. And I'm going past and I went in as curiosity, really, because it sounded so lovely.
Absolutely.
And around on the wall are different sayings or words from the Bible. Okay. And there was one right at the beginning, and it absolutely struck me. It's always remembered it. It said, in the beginning, there was word.
Right.
And I pondered on that for ages. And I thought,
what does that mean?
What does that mean? Does it mean like saying something? Yeah. Whatever. And actually means both, really. It means speaking your word. And if you powerfully, authentically speak something into the future, other people absolutely get it.
Absolutely.
And if anyone in your life says yes to you, it is that you've spoken.
And
they believe it. They're on board with it. They get it.
Absolutely.
And they want to be part of it. And that was beautiful. That was a really powerful moment.
Yeah.
It really was.
Wow.
So that's what I teach other people and spread that around. Is like, whatever you're doing, just be your word.
Absolutely.
And
be authentic, be genuine.
If you train your environment that you are not your word, that's how they're going to relate to you.
Absolutely. And people don't trust you. People do not respect you, which is hence why I was saying, like, for me, I'm very big on respecting people's time, respecting my own time, being a man of my word. If I don't have anything else, all I've got is my word. So if people trust me that way, you build credibility. But if you're not a person of your word, there's a lot that you're not going to get done, and you won't know what kind of opportunities you end up hindering yourself. But in my life up to this point, it served me so well in the jobs that I've been, even when I've struggled in a job, but because I've been consistent, put in the effort, and the people can just sense the genuineness and the hard work in me. They've just said, you know what? Yeah, this young man here, we're going to keep him. There's no, he's just, there's something about him. And most times they'll be like, we don't know what it is, but it's just something about you. So you're staying, the kind of thing. But yeah.
So in Brighton, when I had this meeting, they said, well, all the shops are closing down. We go,
okay. Oh. Yeah.
And I said, give me all the empty shops for free.
Wow.
I want you to pay for the electricity,
really,
insurance, and I want every single shop that's closed.
Yeah.
Because if I bring in regular events
yeah.
and a weekly market, which I'm prepared to do, an arts and crafts or something market, and people turn up
revenue,
and the shops are half shut, imagine what the customers are thinking. The visitors for the first time thinking, not coming back.
It looks like a ghost town. Yeah,
and
it kills the vibe. Yeah.
Give me all the empty shops for free and I will give them to good projects, really good causes and projects.
Wow.
We gave one to a local arts gallery, a local photographics company, who started their very first studio, set them up, the biggest fair trade shop in Europe. And I'd given away all the shops and I was their landlord and we agreed that we would give the shop back as soon as someone took it out full rent.
So
we gave that. And a lot of these companies that started, these little tiny people, they bloomed into full businesses who took on the shop. But the funny thing was there was one shop empty and I couldn't think what to do. Yeah. And I own a chili festival and there's an empty shop. And I own a chili festival.
So the chili festival came before the chili shop.
Yeah.
Brilliant.
And I thought, I've got to fill a shop.
See how God works.
And I own a chili festival and the stallholders kept going bust.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's telling you something. Again, Frank, you see, that's another thing. When you feel like there's a problem and something that's nagging at you and you're thinking, why is this? It might actually be an opportunity. It all depends on how you look at it. It will feel like it's a problem in the moment, but if you really ask the questions, you will discover it's actually an opportunity. But brilliant, go ahead.
So that's what we did. Filled up with the empty shop, started the shop, didn't call it the chili shop in the beginning, but I listened. People outside the door, the owners of Brighton Marina, everyone kept saying, I'll meet you at the chili shop. Come and see this. There's a chili shop here. And I thought, That's what? The name. It needs to be called what it is.
It's inspired.
Yeah.
It's brilliant. I love that. Yeah, absolutely. And for me, something that is inspired, that's what I love. I just love when things happen, not in a force. Imagine you'd have called it something else and they've ruined the whole vibe. But the fact that you went for that is brilliant. And I think it really, really suits it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So that's how the chili shop came about. Wow. Not planned, but it was a path of keeping your word, a path of being inspired, meeting inspiring people and being touched by them and carrying on that journey and being open to opportunities. Yeah, and it's amazing how these opportunities come
along. Yeah, I mean, with it being, you're hearing you speak, you're more than just a chili salesman, man. You're a motivational speaker. You're, I don't know what other title, philanthropist, entrepreneur. And this is all from Chile.
People do label you though.
Right.
They come in, they think, I work in a shop, I own a shop.
The chili shop and you just don't know.
This is my art. Right. This is a place to come and meet someone who actually wants to listen to you. Right. And if we connect, something comes out of that.
That is absolutely brilliant.
I had this lady come in the shop once in Brighton and she goes, I'm thinking about starting an ideas club. I said, let's do it.
Do it.
I'll do it with you.
Oh,
you know what?
Really?
Every month we created an ideas club where people come in who were stuck, who had ideas, never made them happen. And we coached them into making them happen. And we had inspirational speakers and things like that. And it's just from meeting a customer. Oh, and I would do this. I have lots of producers who, they were a customer coming in. Like my best-selling sauce at the moment, local one, was this wonderful lady from Halifax.
Okay.
She's born in Laos, tiny little island. Her name is Yo-Yo. She came in with her husband from Halifax, pre-lockdown, and said, really meek and quiet and humble. She says, I make a chili sauce. I want to be able to sell it.
I don't know.
And I said, tell me the ingredients. And she went, ginger and garlic, chili, and then fish oil. And I said, I'm vegetarian. So could you do it without fish oil?
Yeah.
Because there's lots of vegans and vegetarians. I know it's native to your country. I said, but
you just do
take
that
the
one
fish oil out,
change.
do that one change, put it in a bigger bottle, be more confident. I will stock it.
Wow.
And she went, really? I said, I will 100% have it in the shop. Okay. Yeah. And you know the difference it makes to someone who's starting on their journey to know that
somebody
you've
has
already
that
got
confidence
a shop
in them
to take it on.
Yeah. Not just a shop that specializes.
2 years later.
Yeah.
Last Thursday.
Yeah.
She won the National Chili Awards, Best Sauce of the Year.
You better say that again, Frank.
I know. I'm so proud. I'm touched by saying it.
You know,
but that's,
I need a button just to press like, toot,
I know. But isn't that inspiring?
That is inspiring. And that's why we do this podcast.
Yeah, it is.
That's absolutely amazing. And again, if it was somebody else, perhaps even if it was me, I would have maybe judged that lady based on her demeanor to be like, oh, well, she can't speak properly. I bet you she doesn't have, you dismiss her. But then if you actually show the heart and you listen to what somebody has, and you actually be surprised what they have. Do you get my point? I'll give you an example. Do you know, in reaching out, the thing that you said, I've been reaching out to different people, trying to get them to come on the podcast, and try to not to sell it to them, but to tell them what I'm trying to do. And there've been a couple of people who are amazing like you. Like, I never expected a yes from you. Not that I expected a no, but I had no expectations, and you just said yes without even before I asked. And then the people that I've expected yeses from have said no without even knowing what it is. So all I was thinking in my head is like, you know what, you're saying no. I haven't even had the opportunity to explain to you fully what I'm doing. You haven't even seen my heavy artillery, right? So you're already assuming that the thing's probably not good because somebody was like, oh, I don't have the time and I don't have the time to travel. And then I was like, I'm accommodating. You won't need time to travel. You won't need that much time. I do everything, that sort of thing. But then you've jumped to the no, but then you don't even know to say that perhaps God might have even put me, I say God a lot, but don't believe in God, that's absolutely fine. But I always use like God as a reference to say, like, I genuinely believe like sometimes he puts us in paths of people in ways that we don't even know, then magic happens. So there'll be certain things that will come together that have got absolutely nothing to do with you. The thing that you've said, most of your stories, it seems like that's the case, where things just came together in such a way that even if you try to put it together that way, it probably wouldn't have happened that way. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah, you're open to a miracle. You're open
absolutely
to the possibility of things happening.
And then the universe also does its part. But
well, everyone, we're all connected in some way. And I find that once you are inspired and passionate about something and you're being your word and you're communicating it, it touches other people around you.
Absolutely.
And then you realize that it snowballs. You almost can't stop it.
Absolutely.
Can't stop.
He said, the thing that I said is a ripple effect. And some of the opportunities, the thing that I said as well, is that you won't even know where they're coming from. And it might not even be in the way that you're thinking about. The thing that you were saying, like people coming to you, asking you to host events and things like that. I bet you that wasn't in your plans initially,
No, but I don't know what my plans are. So
exactly.
It's quite like not knowing really.
Things are going to keep coming. I can bet you even in the future, there are more things that are going to come your way, Frank. Even for me personally, I don't know what it is, but in some capacity, we'll most certainly partner up with something, or if because on my journey I intend to meet a lot of people. I intend to have conversations with different people, from CEOs to sports people to just general people with inspiring stories, like the lady that you say, somebody who just comes from a place where they've come out of life, they've come out of hardship, and they just have a powerful story to be able to share with the world in a way that other platforms are not interested to hear. I'm the person that's actually interested to hear that story, to speak to that person.
It's touching, isn't it?
Yeah,
really.
And for us to be able to share it.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean?
I mean, you are thinking things into existence that never happened before.
Absolutely am. And do you know what I've been over the past couple of months is I've been practical about it as well. Because even before the podcast came along, I actually sat down and I said, this is what I want. I had a vision, the thing that you said. I spoke it before it happened, and then I wrote it down. I was like, okay, this is what I need. I wrote down a list, and things were just adding up, and it's too pricey. I'm like, where is this money going? I don't have it. And I was like, do you know what? I want to get a job that allows me to graft, and I'm going to be buying them one by one. When I tell you, Frank, I've literally been buying all this one thing a week for the last 6 months. One light, one microphone, one cable. And then now,
and it's very impressive from my angle, by the way.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very much. When you look at it, it's like, wow, I've come this far with all of it, but you have that perseverance, and you set yourself a date, and you just don't do things endlessly without actually getting started. It will take you far. But that mantra that you said about speaking things into existence, I will say I'm a perfect example of it, and I think you are too, Frank.
And the other thing I find is that if whatever you're doing and you're communicating and speaking, to be inspiring, it has to make a difference.
Absolutely.
It can't be to make money. It can't be to be better or coming from a negative place. It's creating something from nothing, something beautiful, something people can get on board with and join and be part of.
Absolutely.
And I like that very much. I mean, if I go back further than Brighton, I go back in time, I am now really shy. I've been to St. Martin's School of Art. studied in the evenings. I'm in a design agency as a junior, as a messenger, and then a junior artist. And then I become a manager. And then I become a director. No one's ever done this path before.
No way.
So I'm just growing, even though I'm really shy.
Oh, wow. What were you director of, by the way?
I was a director, account manager for Nintendo and Sony PlayStation and L'Oreal and Brands Hatch and Silverstone and
Look at this
London
guy
Underground.
Just saying that casually, like it's nothing.
The
Frank.
thing is,
that is a
from
strong
the earliest
background,
stage, I refused to work on cigarettes, and because I'm vegetarian, I refused to work in dog food,
which makes sense. Yeah.
Refused to work on cars, and they were our biggest client. I refused, and it's like being your principal. I could lose my career, but you know what?
Yeah. You could use your livelihood. Yeah.
And it was inspiring, it really was inspiring. So, jumping from Sony PlayStation account, and then one of my clients leaves and goes to Sony Music to say, we're starting up a games machine. Would you like to come on board with us?
Yeah.
And then us, the company losing London Underground and me going to them and saying, look, I want to win this back. I love the Underground. I love the fact it's a green way of traveling and it's such a powerful network for London. I'd love one here in Leeds.
There you go.
And then one of my London Underground clients, I don't see them as clients anymore. I see them as people that are struggling and have issues like everyone else. And I take them for a coffee and I don't say, can you give me work? No, I actually say, you're not happy in your job, are you? Mm-hmm. And they were like, really? I said, yeah, actually, you're not very good at your job. I always have it difficult understanding what you want. And I said, are you passionate about the Underground? And he went, no, I like cars, racing cars, Formula One.
Yeah.
And I said, why don't you work for
Formula One company then? Like, why are you doing this?
And confident. I could tell the company, he goes, I couldn't do that. I couldn't do that. I've only worked at London Underground. I said, it's a huge brand. Let me help you and support you. Mm-hmm. And I coached him as a friend, as a client.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
And he suddenly got a job at Brands Hatch and Silverstone. Mm-hmm. I get a phone call. Wow. Would you like to work for Brands Hatch and Silverstone? So suddenly my boss is like, hang on, how are you getting all these clients? And it just one after another. And it was basically not treating people like
commodities,
like a company, like you're a person, and find out what they're passionate about.
Absolutely.
And it was lovely. And I did a little personal development course in the evenings because I wanted to take my shyness out. And I did well. My shyness was going. And on the third course, they said, you have to do a project that makes a difference in the world.
Okay.
And it's got to be something bigger that you've never ever done before. And I thought, okay, my brain is fast. I had 14 ideas in 2 minutes.
No chance.
But only one of them scared me.
Yeah.
One of them scared me.
That's the one you had to go for.
And the little one, the one that's always ruled my life and has said, do the hard one. What you're going to learn, do the hard one. So I'm on this 3-month course and they're like, to stand up, okay, and I'm really shy. They said, what's the project? And I said, I want to make all the people on London Underground smile.
Wow.
And they're like, okay.
And London people ain't easy to make smile. I'm sorry, Londoners, but they're very fast moving.
Lot. Yeah, I know
you've said it.
Wow.
I wasn't going to say just in case.
Like a sardine. Anyway, so what I did was I'd noticed... what I've learned was don't do it on your own, speak it. So I just went round saying, I'm going to do a project on London Underground to make people smile. And then the lady from accounts, who's really quiet, said, Frank, have you heard about that tube driver that used to tell jokes on the tannoy to the travellers?
Yeah.
And he used to get into trouble over it. He's now on TV. And I went, no, I'd not heard of that. And she says, I've got a contact at Comic Relief. And in the accounts department, being an accountant, I said, well, give me I've only got their fax number. So I wrote my ideas down.
Okay.
Sent it to Comic Relief. And a few weeks later, they contacted me saying, hi, this is Comic Relief. We've been trying to do a stress relief project for transport for years. It's a great idea.
Yeah.
There's a meeting at a head office in Holborn next Wednesday. You're chairing the meeting. Head of projects London Underground are going to be there.
What?
So I'm timid and I put my suit on and I go along to this meeting and there's two really excitable girls from Comic Relief with all the prototype red noses and comedians on the wall.
Oh, wow.
And there's two elderly London Underground people with their arms folded. Who didn't want to be there?
Tell us what you can do.
And I stood up there and I passionately said, I want to make a difference on the Underground. And they said, first of all, we don't work for charity. Wow. We don't work with charities. I went, what? I didn't know this. And they went, no, if we work with one, we have to work with all of them. And then secondly, our customers don't like being entertained.
No way.
And I stood up, not in a violent way, but I banged my fist on the table and I said,
objection, Your Honor.
I said, prove it.
Yeah.
And they went, how do we prove that? And I went, survey. I said, you're really good at surveys.
Do one.
We're not leaving this meeting. And Comic Relief are like, no, calm down. Yeah. We're not leaving this meeting until we write out a survey that they're going to do. So it was like, what do you think of art on the underground? What do you think of poetry? What do you think of the buskers on the underground? What do you think of this and that? Okay. And they put it out to
the people.
Yeah. So I'd not heard anything after this meeting. So I'm on this course and they're saying, Frank, what's happening? I said, oh, nothing. Thinking, oh, I failed.
Again.
Yeah. But I tried, Anyway, get a phone call. Hi, this is London Underground. Yeah. Do you remember us? And I went, yes. They said, look, we've agreed to work with Comic Relief, just a little project, just with the staff. Well, that was 10,000 people.
Wow.
So that was the start. Oh, God, that's great. They said, oh, we've done your survey. One of the questions has caused us a huge problem. And I said, which one's that? And they said, oh, it's the busking. I said, what about the busking? And they said, well, 96% said they loved the buskers.
Wow.
And I said, well, what's the problem about that? And they went, well, it's illegal. The underground platforms are counted as street pavement.
Oh, right.
And if it's illegal on street pavement, it's illegal on the underground. So we've got this problem now. We've been spending so much time, money and resource getting rid of them.
Yeah.
That we've now got this survey saying, what are we doing? And I went into my powerful mode and I went,
the confidence is now coming.
So I said, okay, so what are you going to do about it?
Yeah.
And they said, okay, with your permission, we're going to put a bill through Parliament to legalise the busking on the underground.
Wow.
2 years later, I get a phone call saying, look in the Times tomorrow, Frank, it's now legal.
The law has been changed.
Isn't that amazing?
You're inspired to change a law.
I'm just Frank. Honestly, if I can give anything away on this interview, is that I am so ordinary. I am an ordinary.
You said that, but
you have to be ordinary to be extraordinary. So that's
another one I'm gonna steal. You have to be ordinary to be extraordinary. I agree with you on that one, to be down to earth.
So these are all the muscles I've learned that I'm prepared to give away to anyone who I come in contact with in my life. And that's my life's mission, is to touch and move people around me. And if it comes in a vehicle of a chili shop, this great experience, weird, wonderful shop, then this is my vehicle.
Absolutely. I mean, after this conversation, I'm not even looking at this place as a chili shop anymore. Like, I'm looking at it completely different. It's like a motivation spot through chili. And in all honesty, like, motivation comes through different places. Do you get what I mean? So now I'll actually be open to more things, because I know in my life there've been certain things where I've just kind of dismissed them if I'm not comfortable or confident with them. But like, nah, that's not something I would do. Hiking, not interested in that. Chili, I don't know, maybe I'll get the stuff that I like. And I know now I'm literally on a journey where I want to try new things, right? Even when I speak to my guests, one of the things that I'll be asking, in fact, I'll ask you, Frank, about some of the things that you like, your favorite chilies, right? Or your favorite tea, or the things that you like and why you like them. And I want to try them. Well, I want to try it out.
My marketing background tells me that if you want to be a brand, it's a word thrown around. No one knows what it means. It actually means you're either the first, which I am in the north. Yeah. You're either different, which I definitely am.
Of course.
Or you're the best.
Yeah.
If you're one of those three things and you become known as one of those three things, that's how a powerful brand is created. Okay.
Brilliant.
And I thought, what I need to do in my little chili shop I started off, which I didn't know what I was doing.
Wow.
I need to find something that is so different and so amazing that you can't live life without it.
Absolutely.
I wanted to find the best taste in the world.
Wow.
And I found it.
Yeah.
I actually found it. Do you know how I found it?
How did you find it, Frank?
I gave my bed away.
Explain that one.
My chili festival's getting bigger.
Oh, brilliant. Yeah.
And I'm attracting people from all over the country and the world now to my festival.
Yeah.
So and I get a phone call from Manchester.
Yeah.
In this Manc accent saying, hi, this is Glenn. I'm not paying those Brighton hotel prices. They're like, London, I'll make no money. I'm not coming unless you put me up. In fact, I want your bed. I've got a bad back. Sorry, the accent's terrible.
Yeah.
And I went,
so
okay.
Your bed.
Straight away, I said yes. Even though I'm up at 4 in the morning, bed at 1 in the morning, running a festival.
Yeah.
I gave my bed, slept on the floor.
Yeah.
And this Glenn had 3 great days at the festival. And at the end of the day, he said, I really appreciate the bed. I've had a great time. He says, this is my thank you. And gave me this case, this cardboard case of these little black jars. And I said, Glenn, what is it?
Yeah.
I don't know. I can't speak Filipino and they can't speak English. They say
gave them to me.
They keep saying it's a sauce. It's not a sauce. It has bits at the bottom and it's got oil at the top. I don't know what it is. He just said, here you go, thank you. You have it. And he gave it to me. Anyway, being quarter Italian and a foodie, my granddad was the banqueting chief of the Savoy Hotel.
Brilliant.
Also called Frank. So I've always had a connection with food. My grandmother was from Bologna, a very foodie place.
Wow.
I put this stuff
it's in your genes.
I put this in my soya bolognese. A little bit of this stuff.
Yeah.
Oh my. Wow.
Was it explosive?
Wow. No. It released this slow motion heat. It's like a gentle build.
Really?
And then it trapped this caramelized garlic taste on my tongue. And it was like, after I'd eaten, I kept going,
I need more.
And then I put it in baked beans. Then I put it in soup. And everyone started liking my cooking.
Yeah.
Suddenly.
Funny guy.
Anyway, so I'm now selling this in my shop.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's a tiny little jar. You'd walk past it in the shop.
How much you sell it for?
It's $6.50 and it's life changing.
Really?
It can't
Listen,
go off. All the bands buy it. I get so many bands coming in, taking them.
I'm going to need to come for one.
I'm going to give you a jar as my thank you for coming into my shop.
So much, Frank.
That was my vision, is to find the best taste in the world.
Absolutely.
And what a strange way of finding it, by giving up my bed.
Absolutely. Do you know when you said, see, that's what I'm saying. There's always a story, and my curiosity will send me somewhere one day. When you said you gave up your bed, I was like, whoa, where's this story going?
It hooked you in, though, didn't it?
Yes, it really hooked me. I'm like, Frank, you're going to have to explain to me and tell me, where this story is going. But you're right. In some of your chilies, there's a little chili that you gifted me when we did the first interview together, and my wife can't stop asking me about it. She's like, is that the one? Yeah.
It was, yeah.
Oh, yes. Oh, my wife absolutely loves it. She's like, oh yeah, can you ask how much it is? Is it there? What's that chili again? And so I'm going to introduce her to you, like for her to come. I think will be coming regularly, most certainly. At the moment, we're expecting very soon, about 3 to 4 weeks. Yeah, we're expecting our boy is coming, and I'm busy doing this podcast, but absolutely loving it. But yeah, so that sauce there, she definitely loved it.
Okay.
One of the questions I want to ask you is, what are some of your most popular, unique chilies you've got, and sort of why are they popular? What are some of the quirky stories behind them? Perhaps to keep it briefly, if possible.
I mean, the tamarind and chipotle. Adam and Mr. Vickers from the Lake District keeps flooding and moving, but he's a survivor. One of my first stallholders. He makes the most incredible thing to go on cheese. Wow. It's like 2 completely different cultures combined. He's taken the sweet tamarind from India and the chipotle from Mexico and combined them into this paste, and wow. And then we've got my friend Alex from Sheffield, and he was right on the brink of struggling to survive, because of lockdown and he makes the most wonderful sauces. He makes the best hot sauce I've ever tried in my life. It's called the Northern Beacon. 12 different world record and rare chilies, grown them all himself. Blended with sweet potato, incredible sauce.
Really?
And Christmas Eve, the Hairy Bikers put him on the Christmas TV special, broke his website, but changed his life forever, saved his company. So it's little miracles like that. And I'm so proud to have him in the shop.
Yeah.
And I've got lots of things like that. I have got people around the shop, things that you might see a sauce. I see a person.
Wow.
And then the Hot Ones show.
Yeah.
I am so proud of this show.
Yes, you brought that. Like, I was going to ask you about this, but I'm just...
This is impossible. This is like one of my,
the Hot Ones.
I love this little tiny show. Yeah. My friend Corin told me about the show when it was in its infancy. No one knew about it. I watched it on YouTube and I thought,
It's brilliant. It's an absolutely brilliant concept.
I want the sauces from the show.
Wow.
I want people to have that experience.
Yeah.
And then slowly I had got 1 and 2 and 3. Then I realised how hard they were. And you know me now, don't you? If something's difficult, guess what?
That's what you want to do.
I'm going to do it.
Yeah. And I'm going to steal that one from you as well again, Frank. You know, because there are a couple of things that I just feel like are hard, and I never think anything is impossible, but I feel like, it will take me ages. But I'm going to stop now. I'm going to find a way, because there's something I literally wrote down. Like, I think you said something about how you store things. Like I don't know how you do your memories. I use my Apple Word. There's a Word file.
Yeah, you've got
to write it down.
You must write it down, but then you must share it. It's not just writing it down.
Sharing it. I haven't been doing the sharing.
That's your existence system. Yeah. When you tell other people, this is my idea, this is going to happen, they then
will hold you to it.
And you almost
avoid
them, because when you see them next day, have you done that thing?
Are you doing it now?
So I said to everyone, I'm going to get I'm going to get 10 hot one sauces.
Yeah,
brilliant. And when I did it, I said I'm going to get 10 in order.
Yeah. Oh wow.
And then I'm going to get the biggest collection in Europe. And
there you go. So you literally.
And then I said, the customer said, do you sell the ones that they can't? We're not allowed to have the last dab, last connect, the ones that are owned by the show. The reason they don't sell them to anyone else, anyone on wholesale, they need to keep it a free show. And so what it is, I got them not to sell.
Just to
and I thought, why don't once a month, almost like a party experience, I take over a restaurant and let all my customers actually enjoy the whole show, do the entire lineup, interviews, and they get to try these sauces they can't get, and they get a selfie with it. And you know what? We sell out in 2 days.
I can imagine.
Wow. And the restaurant loves us, because their quietest day is now their busiest day.
Wow.
So we're making a difference,
and you're having fun while doing it, Frank. It's like the way you explain stuff. It's not just that you tell stories. It's like, and you're passionate, but you're having a good time, and you encompass the value of everything that I will be doing. I'm getting out of the habit of saying trying and maybe. I'm working these words out of my vocabulary, in that this podcast is more to come, by the way. And you and I were going to have another conversation about something else. I don't know. Sure. There's always something.
You found out a lot about me that you didn't know, haven't you?
Absolutely. And I love it, because it's not just for me, Frank. I love it to say, obviously, it's content that I'll be presenting to the viewers and the listeners. But there's so many gems that you've given today that I'll go watch this back. I'll go listen to this back. And it's going to bless me too. Like, you've spoken to me in so many ways that it's changed me living here. And I am so glad, because I know the listeners that will be coming in and everything that they've heard, you coming from nothing, you not even had anything, no excuses, and you found a way to make it work. Because oftentimes I feel like, as people, we find reasons why things can't happen. And there's always a reason if you look for it, right? If I looked, as I said a couple of months ago, I would have given you all the reasons why this wasn't possible. But then when I just went, grafted, focused, as I said, it seems tedious. I'm an impatient person, Frank. Like, I like to do everything at once, and I couldn't. So doing it one step at a time was growth. That's a huge growth on my part, because it was like, I just want it all done.
I call them milestones. You have another milestone.
Absolutely.
And you feel like you're getting there, don't you?
You do.
If you have a dream, break it into steps.
Absolutely.
And then if you're not fulfilled, like if you want to run a marathon, say you're really unfit, you want to run a marathon.
One step at a time.
Next 2 weeks' time, when you run to the bus stop and you're out of breath, you're going to get discouraged and fed up, because you're not going to be happy until you run that marathon.
That's true.
The technique, or not even a technique, it's be a marathon runner. It's like, who would a marathon runner in a year's time be today?
True.
It would be out of breath running to the bus stop.
That's true.
And then the day afterwards, they'd run a few paces further. And then a week later, 2 bus stops. And then 3, and then a mile.
True.
That's who. And then suddenly you get inspired by these little breakthroughs, these little steps, that it's who you are being. We're called human beings.
There's a reason why we're called human beings.
And a human could be just on a machine, not doing anything. Who are we being? And I'm right now being inspiring, or I'm being a chili shop man, or whatever I'm being.
Yeah.
And you can choose who you're being.
Absolutely.
Not as an act. It has to be authentic. It has to come from the heart. It has to be totally true. When I say I'm going to be doing it by then, I'm really believing it.
That you're going to be doing
I'm going to be putting in everything. And people can see the difference when you're just saying it.
Or you're actually doing it. And I'll say, what I've realized as well is, like, again, viewers, listeners, authentic isn't always pretty. I realized that if you're going to go down the authentic route and genuineness, it's going to be imperfect. Sometimes it's going to be, awkwardness and this and that, but I still want the authentic experience, because I feel like even if it's just 10 or 5 minutes of an authentic conversation you and I are having, it radiates through, because all these props, they're only here to capture something that's already there. So if it's not there, it's not going to come through in the way the viewer, the listener is going to be listening to it, or them watching it. They won't, so Frank, how did you do that one? And I'm just asking you convoluted questions. Somebody will be looking at it and thinking, what is that? But this conversation here, I have to tell you, has been so inspired and so perfect for me that somebody will come, they'll pick something up from what we're saying, from hearing these stories. And I love narrations through stories. I love to hear other people's journeys, and I love to hear other people's stories. I mean, I'll say, I know you've got other things to do. I do too. I appreciate the time, you giving us your time today, Frank, giving us your space. And as I said, we definitely will be having another conversation. Obviously, if you will accommodate us, or if you've got something going at any point, I don't know, festival or something coming up that you'd like to discuss, let me know. I'll jump through and we can make that work. But what I did want to ask you also is there anything, or rather, no, is there anything? Again, I'm changing my language, but what have we got to look forward to in the next coming month with the Chilli Shop and everything that you're just personally doing in the next few months?
Well, we've created the Chilli Shop Awards. So next mid-March, late March, all the best things will be announced. The best thing in the world on cheese, the best pour on sauce, and we'll be supporting and highlighting all these amazing producers. So that's the next thing for us, really big.
Okay.
And it will be exposing these companies to great things. So we've got a magazine sponsor who's printing it on a double page spread right as we speak now.
Oh, wow.
We have a social media company arming themselves to send out all the awards.
Yeah.
And this is all, again, using the same thing, inspiring them and having them part of it. We even got a sponsor for the awards and everything. It's great. That idea came out of being in lockdown. It's like, what can you do with that time? So the next thing is the Chilli Awards, and then there'll be bigger things after that.
Absolutely. And even that one, as I said, there were a couple of questions that I'd lined up, but again, as I said, I just threw them in the bin. I'm like, we're just going to go with their story. So, but that's what I'm saying. There's definitely opportunity for part 2, part 3 and more to find out about that, how you went through that, how you shifted, because obviously there's just so much that happened during the pandemic, but that's a whole nother podcast in itself. Again, it's been brilliant. I feel blessed. I'm so thankful. Before we go, what are you guys' socials? Where can people sort of find you online, socials such as Instagram, Facebook, if you've got that, as well as if you have a website perhaps that people can go to?
Excellent. We don't have a website because it's not personal enough. So you buy things. Everything's pinned to the top of Facebook, which is Chilli Shop Leeds Merrion Centre. If you just type in Chilli Shop, we come up.
You'll find it.
And Instagram is The Chilli Shop, and Twitter as well. So just look up. Not very funny. We are top of Google, and we're the only one.
You don't need to be doing all that extra stuff because you've got that authenticity and people, come through. Yeah. I mean, there's a last question I'll actually ask you. Have you seen some celebrities that have come through to the shop who are based in Leeds? Perhaps?
We get Larry and Paul, which are top comedians in all the time. They actually take our sauce now and put it on their Thursday night show. We had Big Zoo in last week.
Big Zoo! I saw his picture and he does food. Yeah.
He's not just Big Zoo. He is a loving, kind guy. When you meet them for real, because he's, when they're a celeb, everyone treats them like a... But he's a real human being. He gives them a wonderful hug. And he came in and filmed and was so warm and gracious. Then he saw the Hot One shelf and he went, oh my God. He goes, I know Sean, gets the number out, types in Sean Evans' number, and we're doing filming for Sean, who then contacts me afterwards. So,
Big Zoo, brother, you need to come onto the Let Inspiration Takeover podcast. Let's speak about some of that food that he does. He does amazing cooking.
He's a really good cook. Really good chef.
Level. And the thing that I love the most about him, the thing that we've spoken so much about today, he's authentic. He just seems genuine in what he does. You can see the love. Like, you can't fake loving doing something.
No, you feel it when he walks in the room. It's right.
You can't fake it. You're either in it or you're not.
And even when he went to the arena to do like big filming over there, he came back afterwards before he went off to give us another hug.
Brilliant.
He didn't need to do that.
Yeah. But he was just showing you the love to be like, I mean,
lovely guy, a lot of respect for him.
No, I will say, Frank, you
and we'll do something together again, I'm sure. Yeah,
most certainly. You've definitely got that energy, and I can see why. But once again, thank you so much. And guys, another episode of Let Inspiration Take Over podcast. As I told you, I preempted you, prepared you, Frank, sick guy, so many stories. Make sure you follow us, subscribe on YouTube, and also click the bell just so that you are notified every time we release an episode. Let Inspiration Take Over podcast. More amazing stories to come very soon, guys. Thank you so much for joining us. Until next time, see you later.
Thank you for listening.
Bye.